Before we move to Legacy Point 3 about conflict, I'd like to tell you about the wise appeal. In the book, Say Goodbye to Whining, Complaining, and Bad Attitudes in You and Your Kids, the authors introduce the wise appeal. 7th graders, this is when you say the following: I understand you want me to, and then fill in the blank, because, and then you fill in the blank. You say this so that your parents know that you're listening to them. Then you say, I have a problem with that because that gives your parents an opportunity to listen to you. And then you make the final respectful request. May I please? Now, this doesn't guarantee that you always get your way, nor should it, but it does help you honor each other when in conflict. So, let's join Ty now as we discuss this topic.
I think most people, when they look at conflict, they see it as a withdrawal. But if we handle conflict with honor, it becomes a deposit. For example, in our marriage, I tell people, I boast in the Lord. We'll have been married 24 years in a few weeks, my wife and I, and I tell people we are more in love today than we were 24 years ago when we got married. And one of the primary sources of the Lord deepening our love for one another has been conflict. The first thing we do is we listen with honor. We listen with honor. And isn't it difficult to listen and allow the other individual to finish their thought without responding? It almost feels impossible, doesn't it? I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads in the room here, and I'm just sensing on video, there's nodding heads all over the planet. And the best way a parent does that, or the best way a parent can do that, is to invite their child to respond back, of course with a good attitude, invite their child to respond back with their thoughts, what they heard their parents saying. And for the parent, like I said, it's very difficult to do this, but for the parent to listen and allow the child to share completely his or her thoughts before responding back. The word picture I use is, let the wave hit the beach and then respond to your child. Now, what we're going to talk about next is speak with honor and using the wise appeal. Now, if you listen real carefully, because we're going to allow you and ask you to do a little bit of role playing, and it may feel very mechanical, all right? But that's how it starts before it becomes a part of your DNA relationally. So, speaking with honor. One of the things that we told our children over the years was basically, you can say anything you want to say if you say it respectfully and honoring. If you make an appeal with honor, that will help, that will work. But you just don't have license to say what you want to say with a bad attitude. So a deposit in the heart of a parent, 7th graders, is to make your appeal with an honoring and respectful tone. Now, our 4th child, Turner, if he's 17, if he ends up in prayer what he is in the appeal, he will change the world through prayer. He is the most appealing, persuasive, relentless, persistent person on the planet. He should mentor all of us, all right? And some would describe that as wearing us down, but he's a very good wise appealer. And I know that's not a word, appealer. So here's an example of a wise appeal, and this is using the son as an example. All right, so the parent says, honey, turn off the TV and mow the yard, please. Respectfully, honoring. But the reality is, for the son, his favorite football team on TV is trailing their arch rival by 4 points. They're first and goal on the 10, and there's just about 10 minutes left before the game is over. So little Billy, we'll say Billy's the son, Billy uses the wise appeal. He says, Mom, precious Mom, I understand that you want me to turn off the TV right now and go mow the yard because it's really getting long out there. But my team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are playing the Washington Redskins right now. There's only a few minutes left in the game. Can I please finish watching the game first, and then I promise to go out and mow the yard right after supper. That's Turner. Turner does that all the time. And you know what? We tend to honor his appeal most of the time. Because that's a very honoring response versus, get my brother to do it, or I'll do it tomorrow, or fill in the blank. That is a beautiful, wise appeal. Here's another example. The Joneses, I trust that's the plural for Jones. The Joneses are coming over for dinner tonight, and the living room, the family room, is a pit, and there's dog hair. Sounds like a very realistic example with our family, with all of Emily's dogs all over the place, including the demonically possessed Nellie. Please put the dogs outside and vacuum the living room right away. Now, the reality is, for this daughter, let's say, she's had a really rough week. She maybe had 3 tests. Maybe one of her girlfriends was really rude to her. Maybe the cell phone was shut off because dad didn't pay the bill, whatever. So she's worn out, she's grumpy, whatever. So the daughter says, "Marvelous mom, I understand you want me to vacuum the house right now because the Joneses are coming over in a little bit. And the living room, the family room is a pit. I see the dog hair. I see the messes around here. But I've had a really rough week. Would you mind, may I please hang out my room maybe for a little bit and then vacuum? I promise I'll have it done before 6 p.m. All right? So I understand you want me to do this, vacuum. I have a problem with that because I've had a really rough week. Could I please do it later in the day because of the week I've had?" Now, for some of you, you might be functioning close to that reality, and so this will maybe just be a tweak for you. But for some of you and your families, this is like a 180-degree turn. And I just want to tell you, even if it feels mechanical and unnatural at the beginning, if you'll honor the Lord and honor one another, this is a beautiful track to run on to get it into your relationship. Like I talked about my marriage, there are times when we have just really, like, I'll take the high road or the low road. I'll be the bad guy, because that typically is what happens. But when I reconcile with with my wife, who is my life, when we reconcile, a lot of times it feels very mechanical. "Terry, will you forgive me for being impatient?" "Yes, honey, I forgive you." I mean, it's not like, ooey gooey, let's hug and linger, all that kind of stuff. It feels a little mechanical, but it's an obedience issue. It's an honoring issue. And so I just want to really appeal to you that you would embrace this wise appeal process, and you'll see how the Lord blesses it in your relationship. The wise appeal is a huge deposit in your relationships. And that's why I'm making such a huge appeal to you to consider that.
Let's talk about it. Partner with one other family and practice making some wise appeals. Your facilitator will lead you through the process.